tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, right there.
We are the champions.
Well, not we.
I mean, Courtney's the champion.
Yeah, there's only one.
Yeah.
And she'll keep her heels on till the end.
Man, spoiler
No, she
alert!
won't.
If you haven't watched the episode yet.
Well, if you haven't watched the episode, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, right?
But yeah, Courtney won.
Yay, that's what I wanted to win.
All right, guys, that's the show. We'll see you guys next season.
That's a recap of season 5.
You know, I don't think we're gonna really recap as much as we're just gonna talk about the final 3 and final. Sorry, I'm tangled here in my camera. The final 3 and the final 2 episode, because you know, I just wanted to watch and enjoy it. I didn't want to have to take like the encyclopedia of notes that I usually
Not
take.
necessary.
Yeah,
We don't need that.
not for the finale anyway.
And
No.
honestly, these weren't super complex episodes. It was 3 dishes in the first episode, in like the top 3 episode, and then they just each person did 3 dishes.
It was 3 dishes, and then it was also 3 cakes in the first one.
Yes.
So we get the first episode, we get 50 chefs, which probably 25 of them are chefs and 25 of them are extras that are just like chefs.
Or like
From 50
they're
states
they're
of
a
America.
chef here in Los Angeles, so they can be paid as locals, but they happen to have at one point visited Idaho.
Hey, has anyone, they walk in a restaurant, hey, has anyone been to Rhode Island? Oh, cousin lives there? You're good. All right, come
Get
on
a
in.
Rhode Island patch on his shoulder
Come
and get
on
him
in.
in the room.
I just don't understand Graham's like take on that. Larry. It's like, remember, there are chefs from 50 different states here. It's like, that's not going to put pressure on
Look, it's a cool gimmick. It was nice that they got like a couple people we recognize. Like I got
Yeah.
Kat Cora from like Iron Chef.
That
Like
was
I've
cool.
watched her, and then Duff Goldman from Something City Cakes, Charm City. What is it?
Inner
That
City?
cake show.
Cake boss.
Cake Boss?
No, the
No.
other one.
King
Simply
of Cakes.
I don't.
Ace of Cakes.
Ace of Cakes.
That's the one.
Takes the cakes.
Yes. Who's conveniently doing it after his like, because he just launched like the Pillsbury style like cake mixes.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, right? Okay, so the contestants basically have to cook, they each have to cook a dish, and they're going to each, like basically 3 chefs are at each table. There's 50 chefs total. The math doesn't add up, we know. Or does it? No, the math doesn't add up.
Well,
That's 3 chefs at each table. And
they
then...
could have put 4 at
But
one table.
so 3 dishes at each table. All the chefs will try all the 3 dishes basically.
Yeah,
so they
they're
don't have to
just
cook 50
snacking.
dishes. They have to cook 16 dishes each. So Leslie goes with the Leslie went with the steak. He went with the steak and
Yeah,
gnocchi,
Leslie went with a filet and herb gnocchi.
which sounds kind of delicious. And the judges were like, I don't know if this is gonna work out for him, man.
And
Gnocchi
why
and
is
steak.
that?
And I'm like, that sounds amazing. I don't know why everyone's
Yeah, I mean it's
dissing
steak and potatoes, right? Gnocchi's made of.
It's like potato pasta, yeah.
Yeah, so it's steak and potatoes, but fancy. I mean, like they said at one point, like the steak was the safe route.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, steak's good, but like it's also easy.
I mean, if you take Leslie,
pull off.
every time he's going to pull the steak. And it's not because he can't cook anything else. It's because steaks are a great thing to cook. I love steaks. Leslie probably loves steaks. And honestly, I honestly thought Leslie was going to win. To tell you guys.
What part?
Win the competition. I thought Leslie was a sure win for the competition. And we got YouTubers who were saying that we hate Leslie. I don't hate Leslie at all. I thought Leslie was kind of a shoo-in.
No, yeah, I think all of us here like Leslie a lot.
I mean, I was Team
Throughout.
Cutter last week, you know.
Well, but we all have our faults. So
Oh, sadly, Kyle was not last here for the after show to rag on Cutter as much as he would have liked to.
I didn't want to rag on him. I just wanted to ask him questions on why he behaves certain ways. That's all.
Because he
I asked the
wanted
questions
to.
that nobody else will ask.
That's
Cutter
true, he really did.
Cutter is Cutter has some issues, I think, on television.
So tonight, Leslie was doing the steaks and the gnocchi. Then we have Elizabeth with a skin-on sea bass and a tricolored cauliflower puree.
Cauliflower 3 ways.
It's very important to note, however, that the top 3, Leslie, Courtney, and Elizabeth, also had help from previous contestants.
Yes.
Which did they have that help before or after they got all their ingredients?
I think they had that after.
Before.
Was it before?
Yeah, because they all go in and they're helping shop.
You're right, yeah.
And they're like,
so if I'm Leslie,
where's the lemongrass? I can't find the lemongrass.
Yeah, and if I'm Leslie and I got Christian with me, I might lean towards steak. You know,
yeah,
to
he can cook meat.
Yeah,
I mean, you could say the same thing about Elizabeth with Victoria, though.
What do you think about those teams, though? So we have Courtney with Big Willie and Daniel.
That's dream team.
Perfect team.
I thought it'd be dream team, but they had the most trouble, it seemed like. And then we have Leslie is teamed up with
Iran
and Christian.
Yeah.
So,
to me, not dream team. Meh.
I mean, I thought they'd do well.
Yeah, I mean, Christian's very good, very technical.
Yeah.
Iran's very creative. That's like her strength is in her creativity. So I don't see her as much as a sous chef as like you want like Victoria on your team.
Yes.
You want Christian. You want Daniel and Willie because they can execute.
Right.
And then Courtney was with
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth was with Christian and
Victoria and
Jamie. Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of a good teaming. I didn't quite understand the fortune cookie, why they pulled them out of fortune cookies.
It just made a complete
food
luck.
show.
And
Okay.
yeah, and that's the best way for luck to come from food. I really wanted them to have like more interesting ways of doing it. Like when I have fortune cookie, it's still in the bag, and I just crush it with my hand, and then you just pick the fortune out of there.
I feel like Leslie should have been like, Ksh, and just reveal it. And
that's
it's
what
like,
I wanted to
that
see.
would've
I
been
want to
great.
see someone crush the fortune cookie.
You guys had a lot riding on this fortune cookie part
know.
of the show. I wasn't that emotionally involved in that segment.
Okay. I guess you're right. We're kind of weighing too heavily on that. And then we have Courtney's dish, which she was going to do I think it was the sea bass. Was it sea bass?
halibut.
Halibut.
Yeah.
That's right. The very white flaky fish.
But look, I love halibut, but halibut is a dirty fish. It's a bottom dweller. It eats junk. I do not think classy restaurant dish to serve to the 50 chefs in their country.
I mean, I
as
like.
halibut.
I think halibut can be delicious.
It is very
if it's done
delicious.
well, and you heard the chefs giving her compliments about the fish and say it was very good. It was perfectly
flaky.
seasoned, very tasty. I mean, sometimes you just have to choose that fish. You just have to go for it. I mean, just for the halibut, you gotta put it on the plate.
Well, she was doing it with an Asian
Let me
style.
know when you're done.
She was doing it with an Asian zing using vermicelli
I get
noodles.
it, but
and-
if you're top 3, chance for the finale, you have any type of protein you want, and you're going with halibut. I'm like, that is what I cook, and I'm not a chef. Give
I know
me something
it
big.
really didn't work out for Courtney at all choosing the halibut.
Yeah, right. You're like, what? Yeah, she got screwed. That's true. That is true.
But like you cook at home, you could say the same thing about a steak. Like you grill up steak at home. Like it's nothing hugely technical.
Yeah, I suppose.
You just gotta make it good, make it tasty.
I suppose.
That's a big piece of halibut too.
But interesting, Elizabeth, as you were saying, Steven, has the cauliflower done 3 ways, and she also has, it was a bass, a fish. She had a fish.
What
too.
Elizabeth had?
Yeah.
It was the skin on red snapper.
Yes, exactly. And for sure, her dish looked the best.
Oh yeah, it looked amazing.
And if I could eat one of them, it would have been hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I don't get the whole the purple cauliflower thing. I don't get the colored cauliflower thing.
Why? What's not to get? It's purple. It's a different way.
Honestly, whenever I see cauliflower on the plate, I'm like, oh, it's filler, and I push it off to the side.
Oh, it's filler.
Cauliflower
Literally,
can be delicious.
It
though.
can be.
Yeah.
I love lots of places are doing like a little fried cauliflower as like an appetizer thing now.
So you're not pushing that out of the way.
No, that's actually
I
really
watched
good.
you eat that like 2 days ago.
No, that's why I'm calling myself out, saying that's actually good. But when it's like, if I have a plate and it's gonna have like sea bass and like some like maybe a starch, I see the cauliflower, I'm like,
Well, but, and also like mashed cauliflower, which is sort of what you did in one of those here, is really tasty, and it's
The
like,
puree, yeah.
and it's like now with all the paleo insanity that's out there, it's like, oh, we can't have mashed potatoes, but we can have mashed cauliflower.
I think honestly it was a cool dish. Like using three
Great.
colors, 3 different textures is what I was kind of impressed with when they said it has 3 tastes, 3 different textures, and 3 colors. Like
My only question with that is like, how are you supposed to eat it? Are you supposed to like dip the? Because one of them is almost like a sauce.
One of them you snort, the other one you drink, and the last one you inject. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Haven't you ever
to
eaten
know.
cauliflower?
But you have to guess, and if you get it wrong, you die.
No, I think you just eat it however you want. But clearly, Elizabeth was the queen of that challenge, and she killed it. And they said, "You're the winner, girl."
Yep.
Immediately to the finals.
Up to the balcony.
Not shocking,
Yeah.
by the way.
Not shocking at all.
Like I was Team Courtney, you were
Courtney,
and you were
I was
Leslie. But none of us, even though we were Team Courtney and you were Team Leslie, we all thought Elizabeth would be in the top 2. I kind of thought she was gonna win, even though I was pulling for Courtney. So
since like episode 6, it's been clear that Elizabeth was one of the top contenders.
I would even argue, even though I wanted Courtney to win, that Elizabeth is a better all-around cook. Open that door so that cricket starts going.
But
Right.
but is that MasterChef? Like we saw Courtney giving some pretty big swings.
Well, the thing with MasterChef is that you have to perform under these crazy pressures and these crazy scenarios and these crazy competitions with crazy people and time restraints. So you have all of those components. But overall, just from based on watching them, I bet Elizabeth is a better cook.
I think you might be right consistency-wise. I think consistently, Elizabeth is a better cook. But I think imaginatively, I think that Courtney can be better in some respects. And it might not even be a contest between the two because they're so different in what they create. Like Elizabeth wants to make a cookbook, so she knows all these recipes that are similar to each other. So she was going for I'm going to create a menu and I'm going to display a menu and a theme to these chefs. And I'm talking about the finale right now, not actually episode 3 or top 3. But then Courtney is all in for high risk, high reward. That's what she was really going for this whole season. Really was high risk, high reward, and it paid off because she didn't have very many times when it fell back on her. Unfortunately, in the finale, we have the meringue. She eats one of the meringues, and that's kind of like.
That was really funny.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. Courtney would be the type of girl who can go, what do you have in your pantry? All right, peanut butter and a cracker. I'll whip up something amazing. Where Elizabeth goes, I can't function unless I have every single ingredient and tool necessary.
But if she has those tools, it's like, whoa.
Killer. Yeah, exactly.
I think when you're looking at somebody who's going to do something like a cookbook, I think Elizabeth's phenomenal. I think if you're looking...
Zach told me that this is the first time he is going to actually buy a cookbook because he wants to see what Courtney would put in it.
I've been watching MasterChef for a few years, and every time it gets down to the finale, and it's not like a few years ago when it was whatever her name was, the blind woman.
Never watched.
Who won a few years ago, and it was a great finale, and she did a fantastic job. And the fact that she's blind makes it like this incredible story. But like boil it down, I wasn't interested in a Vietnamese cookbook,
and you can't read Braille.
Steven.
But like so. I wasn't gonna buy that cookbook. Similar thing the other years, and it's just like. But this year, I am very interested to see what Courtney puts in that book. I want to know what she wants to cook, and I'm interested in trying that out.
Out of all the chefs, is she the one that you most want to have a cookbook?
I would love to see a Big Willie cookbook.
Yeah.
Because his like again, it's like what is that person gonna want to put on the plate? I would also be interested in seeing something from like Cutter or Tyler, like really just like woodsy stuff. Like that would be interesting because it's not something I'm used to cooking. It's something
Tyler,
I want to learn
Cutter,
from
I
them.
don't need to see that because I've driven through restaurants before, so I don't need to cook.
I want to know
Step 1, boil water. Step 2, yell at whoever's talking to you.
Step 2, order the number 3. Thank you. Just kidding, Cutter. I'm sure you're a great cook. I'm sure you can cook something, whatever.
I was just saying talk back to whoever ordered it from you.
Oh, yes.
But do we have Skype open, Josh? Okay, cool. So Big Willie should be calling in fairly shortly here to talk about maybe perhaps a cookbook.
I'm excited to hear if he agrees.
Yeah, but so let's talk before Big Willie gets in, so we can talk about the finale with him. Let's talk these cakes.
Let's talk these cakes, yeah?
You know, we got a New York cheesecake.
We got a Boston cream pie.
Boston.
What is it? A Boston cream...
Looks wicked
pie.
good.
Is it a
a Boston cream pie?
Oh, it is a Boston cream pie.
Like, we both were looking at it, like, I went to college in Boston. Like, I've never eaten a Boston cream pie, I think,
Just
in
in
my
the
life.
donut.
It's just like, but I've had the donut a million times.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day here on MasterChef.
I would have loved if one of them just made a giant Boston cream pie donut.
That would have been great.
That would have been amazing. I don't know. So they're challenged. Joe
and
challenges
the key lime
them.
pie.
Joe challenges them to make a New York cheesesteak because Joe verges on the edge of being from New York or being from Italy. He's very
New York.
like,
That was New York. It's a
Yeah,
New
I
York
know.
cheesecake.
New York, Italy, same thing.
I know, but that's like his heritage genres that he likes to
Yeah.
put out there. Graham decides that they're going to do a key lime pie because of Florida, I think it was. And then we have
South.
yeah, and then why have to say it like that? No, and then we have the Boston cream pie from Gordon Ramsay, which I wasn't expecting that from Ramsay as his like choice, but interesting choice.
Boston
So-
cream pie they brought out looked awesome.
So just looking at this challenge, it's only Leslie and Courtney. Who do you think has the advantage before we get into it?
I'd say Courtney, but
But we have a caller on the line. I'm guessing
perspective.
it's one of the fan favorites. I forgot his name. It's something like
I don't remember. It's Billy.
It's like Mike or something.
Little John.
Millie.
Andrew. Is it Andrew?
Is it
Hi,
Elise?
Andrew.
Elise Mayfield. Are you on the phone?
Yes, it's Big Willie.
Big Willie, I was still hoping for a comeback tonight by you somehow.
You know, I think all of America was waiting for that.
They were.
That sounds like something Cutter would say.
No, Cutter would have interrupted me and then said it. Mr. Willie, how do you feel about Courtney being the master chef?
I have my little things about it, you know, good and bad. You know,
Well, we want to hear both.
I'm not like the bitter, salty person. I'm extremely happy for her. You know, I just felt like Elizabeth brought it tonight.
She definitely did. We've been talking tonight that she's a front runner for sure. But at the end of the day, Elizabeth could have brought it, but Courtney brought it more.
Pig ear.
Pig ears.
Pig ears, Willie. What did you think when you first heard that she's going to be making pig ears?
I've actually had pig ears before, and I thought that the way she was preparing them was pretty accurate. You know, but down south, we are known for frying everything, so she could have took a couple of skills from me and asked me how to deep fry them right, and I could have helped her out a little more. But, you know, it's all good.
So how are you feeling when you had to help her out?
You know, I was asked this on Twitter today. A lot of people said that it looked like me and Daniel was trying to sabotage her, and that wasn't the case. We did exactly what she wanted us to do. We went in being team players because had we really went in trying to sabotage her, that would have made it look bad on us. You know, we've all came through this competition our own way, but we also want to be recognized as future chefs and future leaders in the culinary world. So why would we want to do that, you know?
Exactly.
So I had to get on Twitter and, you know, basically say that. And Courtney made it clear that, you know, she appreciates me and Daniel for helping her out, and she loves us. And Courtney has messaged me personally, and she's always been a positive inspiration, you know, to me, and she's always loved Big Willie. So I have nothing, you know, negative to say.
Does she love you enough to cut you off a piece of that big old $250,000?
Okay. Thank you.
You know, that $250,000 would be nice, but I'm trying to get $1 million in my pocketbook, so I'm gonna do my own thing.
Thank you. I love that.
So we were talking about how you need a cookbook, Willie. What's your judging by this season of MasterChef and everything you've cooked in it, what do you think you're strongest at, and what do you really want to create for people to cook and get a little taste of Willie out across the states?
I really want to get people into using some odd, strange things. I have a cooking class coming up with this tea shop, and everything they do is with tea. So I've been working up a lot of things like fried chicken with tea and brining different things with tea and stuff. Like these things that are in your everyday pantry, you can use. It don't necessarily make sense, but it'll all come out good in the end. And that's what I was known for in the show, being able to bring different things together. So that's what I'm looking to do in the future, is to show people it's okay to put coffee on your steaks. It's okay to put orange juice in your brine for fried chicken. It's okay to do that. You know, it's just a matter of how to do it and balancing it right.
So tell me, in the top three compete, when Leslie was sent home, were you surprised? Or, I mean, come on, he got sent home for putting salt instead of sugar. Like,
now, that's where I had an issue with, because yes, he put salt instead of sugar, but if you recall back early in the competition, Kira went home for not filling her donuts, and Courtney put salt in her donuts instead of sugar, and they were real salty, and the judges didn't even eat them. So why didn't she get sent home and Leslie got sent home?
but that's none of my business.
Not all salt is created equal.
I
Apparently.
know, right? Wow.
You know, so I just think that some of the judging was a little questionable.
Who do you think, besides yourself, should have won MasterChef?
Well, there's no other person but me.
Ah! Good for you.
My God.
Then if you were going to choose the winner, who would you choose?
Based on tonight's performance?
Based on your life, your opinion, whatever you want.
Oh, of the entire season, I would have to say Jamie.
Really?
Really?
Big Willie.
You gotta
do
explain
not
yourself.
do not just say things to be dramatic and make no. You have to break that down and really give me a reason that you think Jamie, out of all of the people in MasterChef, should have won. You need to really try to convince me about that.
I think Jamie, because Jamie has had some incredible skills that were just overlooked because she was not, I guess you'd say, what they would have thought the people would want to see. But she was constantly putting her dishes throughout the entire competition. She had amazing moments with the judges, and even her backstory, and it's not playing a sympathy card, but to know her backstory and to know that she's out the competition has been the one to grow the most, from being shy, from being the one that has been picked on, and to have the confidence to come into this competition with some A-type personalities, stand her ground, didn't allow herself to get bullied on, and then was still able to produce some amazing dishes. I think she could have easily taken it.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's no doubt that she's a talented chef, and we have all been fans of Jamie on the show. However, I think there are plenty of other chefs on the show that are better than her at cooking. Maybe not baking. Not baking.
No doubt.
But Cutter, I think Cutter could have taken it. I'm just trying to set Kyle.
Why
Kyle
are
off.
we trying to ruin the
Just
moment?
set Kyle off. What was it like seeing?
It's more talented chefs in the competition, but I was told yesterday, and this is what's crazy, is you have all the skills in the world. You can have all the skills in the world. You can have the best knife skills. You can know how to fry this, bake that, backwards and forwards, but your mindset ain't right. And then you have somebody that don't necessarily have the skills as you have, but they are more willing and open to learn the skills, and their attitude is right, and that'll take you further than just skills alone.
Yeah, always. Not just in cooking, always.
So tell me, what was it like being reunited with everyone from the season so far? Was there any like long lost beef that got brought back, or was there any rekindled season 5 romances that kind of like you saw popping back up?
Well, I hope that there wasn't no romances. I don't know about that, but I do know that Ron made the comment that I was her boyfriend today on Twitter.
Oh.
And
is it Facebook official?
A lot of people was like, "Oh yes, that's awesome," but I will be her boyfriend until that time comes for her to be taken away from me. But I'm not gonna let that happen.
Well, congratulations, Willie, from all of us to you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, you know, and that's pretty much it. You know, I think the best time of us coming back together was basically sitting at the bar and talking shit to each other.
Of course, as it always is.
Yeah, that was the best. You know, of course, you had people that came that was really salty about, you know, who were in the finale and the way they left off the show, and they felt like the show didn't portray them right and all that stuff. You had all of that going on that you just had to just be like, girl, sit down, you know, guys, sit down, you know, it ain't about you. It's about these people here, so be happy for them at least, you know.
Exactly. Well, Willie, it's always been a pleasure to talk to you, and of course, even though you didn't win this season, maybe you will win another season or have something even better and bigger happen to you. But thank you for calling in. Big Willie, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and on Facebook at MC5Willie. And I do want to say that America has asked, you know, about the cruise. I shall be getting on that cruise in November. So if you want to see more of me, then see how you can make that happen. And yeah,
nice.
On the cruise.
Big Willie on the big water.
All right, Big Willie. Thanks again for calling in. And remember, attitude determines altitude, guys.
All right. Later, Willie.
All right.
Well, that Jamie thing threw me off. I had to catch my breath real quick. People saying stuff like that.
It's like somebody lit the fuse in front of Kyle.
What?
Like,
How can you say that?
what is this insanity?
Oh, he threw
wow.
a coaster. Whoa.
But
You're getting amped.
What was what Kyle was like when he heard Jamie's name.
Yeah. I was kind of like that, too.
That's
though.
what it was. But Courtney winning, you could tell Willie was like, well, you know, I'm happy for her, but, you know, whatever. And I think a lot of America feels that way. They look at her as kind of sometimes the girl who's a little fake or a little bratty, maybe a little snooty, who doesn't deserve it. But you know what? I
liked her.
I loved her.
Yeah, I
loved
thought
her.
she was great. Like I never really saw her as snobby. Like anytime she was like kind of like in this episode, like there's a little bit of cattiness back and forth. But I think that was just like they're in a competition, and even if they're friends. If I was in a competition with my friends, I would talk like that.
Absolutely, probably even more so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like the thing when you're friends with somebody, you talk crap.
Exactly.
When you're not friends with somebody, like you tend to be a little bit like nicer on the out.
Yeah, you're more reserved.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally lost my thought.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well, my favorite dish that they put up.
Remembered my thought. Sorry,
Go for it.
I see Courtney having a future in television cooking. Because if you notice, like, all throughout watching the show, like, every time you saw Elizabeth, she was making a face like... And every time you saw Courtney, it was just like, it literally, like, it was, she was on the campaign trail. Like,
And
it
the
was
way
just,
she stood with her legs crossed.
honestly, the way she stood, the way every time the camera was on her, she was always smiling. She was always portraying a character, a portrait of herself.
Yeah.
I saw her as a television chef.
And I liked her, going on that point, that she always took the feedback and almost always said thank you. So they go, this is bad, you should have done this. She goes, thank you. Like, just normal. Just normal.
In her mind, she's saying, I'm going to conquer this bitch. But in her head, she's going, thank you.
And as we all should, right?
It's like it's the polite woman who will take over the world.
Yes.
I feel like she's just super, super intelligent.
At least for a little bit, and at least the cooking world.
She plays the Sparkles high heels girl, and she's super intelligent.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there, Courtney. If you're listening, you can have this one. Stilettos and stovetops.
Oh, that's good.
Hey,
That's
there
good.
you go.
Yeah.
Pitch it to the Food Network right now.
Stilettos and stovetops. I don't know if I can spell stilettos.
It was the
but-
only like double letter I could think of for heels, shoes. I couldn't find anything.
Really?
Well, I'll come up with more later. But
Stilettos and strudel.
But then you have to cook strudel every week.
yeah.
Nobody wants
I'm
that.
totally down with that. I love strudel. So the final competition, they have an appetizer. They have an hour to cook an appetizer. And the whole time I'm thinking like, okay, so an hour for the appetizer, probably an hour to film the in-betweens. For 3 main courses, I'm like, the audience is sitting there for like 6 hours through cooking and through filming. And I was like, wow, that takes a while. So the appetizers, we get Courtney wants to make the pig ear, of course, which is a salad with a quail egg on top. We have Elizabeth making the octopus, which she uses in a pressure cooker, which in a cooking competition, it's rare to see a pressure cooker being used. And I was kind of surprised at that. So are the judges, apparently. And she cooks it, nails it, but apparently the octopus was a little bit overcooked. But Joe really reams Courtney out for the salad she made, and then is like, but it was good.
I think the salad pigger thing looks stupid. And I can't imagine it tasting so great. And my favorite dish that was put out was not from Courtney. It was from Elizabeth, and it was that octopus dish.
I mean,
I
that,
would have totally eaten the hell out of it.
both of them
awesome.
Both of them look delicious. If I'm looking at a menu,
Wait,
I
now,
order
hold
the
on.
octopus.
You think the pig ear salad looked delicious?
I thought it looked good, yeah.
Nah, I thought
Nice
I thought it
salty,
looked weak.
salty pork. I mean, yeah, it's an ear. It's not the most like tender meat, but if it's
I don't care about that. There was just no color. It looked boring,
you had the
especially
little-
compared to an octopus with
It
all
looked
these
like
crazy
crispy
colors.
Serrano ham.
Oh.
It looked like crispy strips of ham.
and you had that nice little bright. The quail egg was a nice touch, so it wasn't just like green
It
and
was,
brown. It had
yeah.
like a little yellow to make it pop.
I'll just say, like, let's take the octopus salad, let's take Courtney's salad, just put it in a bowl
Put it
together,
together.
and I'm just going to eat it
Put
all.
that egg
There
right
we
on
go.
top.
That quail egg right on top.
You got to slice it, get the yolk pouring down.
I know, right? It'd be perfect. So the next thing they have to make is an entree. So entree-wise, we have Elizabeth making a rack of lamb and some other stuff. I can't remember right now for some reason.
I mean, she was going for that. The whole thing. She was going for a Mediterranean like train of thought.
Well, she had the quinoa with the vegetables surrounding the
that she had
rack of lamb.
chickpeas
That's
and with the octopus.
And then Courtney's main dish was the...
Sumac duck breast.
Sounded amazing.
Which I don't know if this is Courtney covering herself after the fact or if she actually thought this far in advance. But she said to the judges, I'm giving you this appetizer that's a little crazy. Pig ears and a salad, right? So I wanted for my entree to go a little more familiar, which is a duck breast, simple duck breast. And I love that strategy because you're also showing range. You're like, look, if I do have $1 pig ears, I'm going to make a great dish out of it. And if you give me a traditional popular protein, I'm going to make a great dish out of it.
It's so hard to do duck like super well. And they're not kidding when they say that, like, because you go to like the Chinese restaurants that have duck and stuff like that. It's roasted duck. So roasted duck is cooked for a long time, and then they cook it one last time before they give it to you. If you're going to just make a duck from scratch like that, to get it crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside to a medium rare, and not have it be completely, because you want that thin layer of fat in between the skin and the meat. So to actually do it and have it look the way she did is super, super, super
That
hard.
like nice thick piece of duck. It looked delicious.
Very juicy, but not completely dry. That's the one thing. Is like duck is that one poultry that if it's overcooked, it's going to be dry and rubbery. Which usually poultry is like dry and flaky, but no, it's rubbery if it's too dry. This looked crispy, well cooked, juicy, delicious, and I was just like, I'm sold. Like I would have totally taken that dish over the. And I love rack of lamb. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
and I
it was
love
great.
rare rack of lamb. So
Yeah, I would have eaten it rare.
even though she undercooked it because one side was probably thicker than the other side before she cut it, and it was in there for the same time, but fortunately that's how meat is if they're not the same cuts and not the same size.
Well, this is my question, like, because I know with beef, like, if you, as long as it's cooked on the outside and it's rare on the inside, you're fine in terms of all that. Is lamb the same way? Like, it's totally fine to eat raw like that? Like, so, like, it was like blood red.
I mean,
It wasn't so raw that I don't think it was inedible. I
he
think it
does
was
say
just
black and blue, which is basically rare.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the meat. I would say the MasterChef kitchen does not use meat that
It's
is
true. It's very true.
like,
they're using pretty good stuff.
honestly, if you're gonna get like Kobe beef, like you could probably eat it rare. Like this
Yeah,
stuff
you
is
could.
it's
Right.
made to be turned into beef tartare.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
made to be able to be eaten rare or raw, basically. So I don't think that would be the thing. I think it's just more that if you're going to say I'm going to serve you this medium rare, you better damn well serve it medium rare, because you know I might like raw food, I might like rare, but if you're going to tell me it's medium rare, it better be medium rare.
I wonder why though she decided to give Joe the rare plate.
Because she didn't want Gordon to yell at him. Yell at her.
I mean, I think there has got to be strategy with that. Maybe he is more partial to rare
I
food.
actually do think he, like, I'm trying to remember an exact instance, but I feel like he's like more like, he's like, yeah, rare food, like because that's like the foodies like cook on a meat,
yeah,
I guess,
right.
But like a medium rare is like a chef's cook, like that's
Right.
the perfect thing is the
Exactly.
medium rare. But like if you're like, oh yeah, I'll have my steak rare, it's like,
Well, she owned it, and she said, look, yours is more rare than I intended, you know, sorry, and whatever. So I appreciate that component.
So there were two, basically the balance in that is Courtney's meringue, when she's like, oh, and totally didn't give you guys one of the meringues.
How do you, and I get, like, you've been cooking for hours, and it's the finale, and there's $250,000, but how do you just accidentally eat it and then go, oops, I was supposed to not eat that? Like, that's a weird mistake.
my only thought is that she counted and counted wrong. Like she's just hurrying and goes like, okay, I can have one. Oh no.
But you
I
know,
don't think
I
it's
think
that.
that wasn't that big of a deal. So you get 2 instead of 3. Big freaking deal.
Yeah, I don't know. What I think is the cause of that, and we'll probably play it in her subconscious for her to be like, oh, I better try one, is Leslie. What took Leslie out of the competition was sugar and salt.
Yeah.
And I think she just wanted to make sure that because I think she would rather, I think she knew that she was going to be missing one, honestly, when she ate it. I don't think she miscounted at all. I think she played it up to the show that she miscounted, but I think she knew, because she would rather taste it and know that it's good at that point instead of, okay, I have to scrap this and really quickly make
Yeah.
something else
No,
if I need
you're-
to.
That is a better call.
My only confusion about it was meringue seems like something, and I'm not a baker, but that's something that could easily crumble out of the oven. Like it might not set right.
overcook
like
it.
one or two on that platter might just happen to overcook a little bit more. So you make extras just in case. Why make like even close to the exact amount? Like why not make an extra half dozen? So that if you lose 3, you're fine. Like they show them doing that constantly throughout the show. I think
They
we
do,
saw her
yeah.
in the last episode. I think Courtney put in 2 cheesecakes.
Yeah, they would even put in 2 parts of meat. I don't know. Maybe she didn't have enough ingredients to do the extras that she needed.
Maybe
I don't
it was
think
a time
that.
thing. Maybe it was the ingredients thing. Maybe it was just for the hell of it. Like,
Well, either way, it didn't matter.
it turned out good.
turned out good for her.
Why you gotta be a hater?
I'm not hating. I'm just curious.
No, it was a
man.
great insight, Zach. It was
I'm
a
just
great
wondering.
question.
Courtney, fill me in. What were you thinking at that moment?
She's like, now she's thinking, I don't care because I won.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What struck
Steven's
me.
pissed. Steven's like, no. How dare you?
What struck me is after, and I mean, we've reached this point in the show now. Elizabeth says, if I would have put in, or undercooking those lambs cost me $250,000. If she would have put out perfect medium rare lambs, do you think she would have won $250,000? Nope. I don't either.
I still think Courtney has it.
I think Courtney brings that something. I don't know. I think Elizabeth is a better cook, but I think Courtney brings something extra that Elizabeth can never bring. It's an unlearned thing.
Courtney has a story. Courtney has a TV face.
But Elizabeth had a story when her husband passed out.
Oh
and what do
my-
you mean Courtney has a TV face? Elizabeth has a gorgeous face.
She does, but Courtney.
Both of those girls could have cooking shows.
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see more people buying the.
I think you're
Cookbook
putting
though.
way too much emphasis on
the
like
look?
the storytelling and what the producers wanted. At that point, they're both fan favorites. America loves both of them. It's
But
going
America's
to.
not choosing.
It's not, so that's what I'm saying. So why would they care? They're actually going to start looking at them as actual chefs and not like pawns in their
I
story.
hope so.
Well, let's just hope and go for it.
I guess like the what they're looking at is like for a MasterChef, you do want something new. Because that's what a real
Yes.
great chef does is
Yes.
they don't just execute older dishes perfectly.
Yep.
They come up with stuff that's new that you've never tried before, even with ingredients that you
You're
have
right.
tried.
You're
And
right.
like, I've had octopus. I love octopus. It's a difficult dish to pull off, but that dish didn't reinvent anything. It wasn't pig ears that
pig
you're
ear
like,
salad probably
whoa.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never heard of a pig ear salad.
It didn't elevate the dish.
And honestly, Elizabeth's dessert looked like a cake that I could have baked. It didn't look like something too crazy.
Can you explain this to me? I don't know if you know, Steven. What is an olive? It was an olive oil cake.
Yeah.
So olive oil is very, very smooth. So when you create a cake with it, it creates a very moist cake. But if,
So it's just like you use olive oil instead of butter.
I don't know the specifics to it.
Okay.
I just know that like you can create because it's heavier than water. It stays more viscous. It creates some very moist cake, but also it's easily not sweet enough. Does that make sense?
Right.
You can easily undersweeten the cake. That's why you have the cream on top. That's why she can do so much with it. So, I mean, honestly, that cake looked really good. And she was really playing to Joe.
The whole dish looked great.
Yeah, she was playing to Joe a lot because it's a very Italian thing. It's kind of, I think it's similar to like ladyfingers and like tiramisu in some ways, but I don't think it's like, that's a very...
My other thing with
far
this,
off, like second cousin kind of comparison.
Don't go crazy with the
Yeah,
comments.
don't kill me off that one.
Gosh.
my other thing with that dish, and it's like it looked really good, but this is like I asked before about like how do you eat it with the 3 cauliflowers, and it's like with these like restaurant quality dishes where it's like the pistachios like on the side.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was a lot.
if you put that in front of me, I would have looked at it and been like, what do I do with it? Like, am I supposed to take this and sprinkle it? Am I supposed to eat this separately?
I would have
like,
done the same thing.
Especially with desserts, I prefer to just stick a fork or a spoon or whatever in one bite and get a piece of everything.
But you're not a connoisseur of the food.
Yeah, you have to
Says
think
you.
they're cooking for Gordon, Graham, and Joe. So
I know.
they're not cooking for Zach, Kyle, and Steven.
The pistachios are
Unfortunately.
there for you to go.
Yeah, the drug references
Yeah, the
today
drug
are
references.
a lot. Are really.
They go well
Wrong,
with
too.
the cauliflower in your nasal cavity.
So here's my question. What now will happen to Courtney and Elizabeth? Are they going to be a fleeting thing on reality television, and then they'll do the cruise for a couple years until they burn out on that, and then maybe they do a second book, and then we never hear from them again?
What is the cruise? Tell me about the cruise.
The cruise, the MasterChef cruise.
Never heard of it.
So if you're a fan of MasterChef and want to meet these people in person, you can sign up for the MasterChef cruise. You go out on sea, and then Willie's there, MasterChef Junior is there, past contestants and winners are there, and they cook and do cooking classes, and you eat food and learn about food and meet Willie. Now it's a chance to get to meet Willie.
See, that sounds interesting.
Is it in California or is it like everywhere?
It's on the water.
It's in the ocean, so it depends.
So it's in Utah. Got it. Okay.
No, it's in salt water. But I don't know. Like, clearly she's gonna get paid. She's gonna have her book. But what does it take for her to turn this into an actual career?
An investor. I mean, I think they're especially for Courtney, their investors lined up around the block.
And a publicist and a management team and an agent. Like, she has to really take advantage of this one opportunity.
It's not even that. It's she's gotta play her cards right when dealing with people who want to control everything.
Yeah.
Because I mean
too.
that's one of the main things. Like with American Idol, as another competition show, which it has the illusion of putting you out on top if you win, when really winning does not put you out on top. It puts you in a serious position where you're locked into a deal already, and honestly, you don't have much control over where your career goes for the next few years while that deal's in effect.
Yeah,
True.
you can be Ruben Studdard and wind up in a Scooby-Doo movie, or you can
Studdard.
wind up
I love
Clay
that it's a
Aiken.
verb. You can get stuttered.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Or Clay Aiken, who like had a much like stronger career. He was on Broadway for a while. Like he did what he wanted to do with it.
And let's not forget, she didn't just get a check for $250,000. She got a check for $250,000 minus the tax,
Well, sure.
minus a lot of other
get-
stuff,
look, I
and
get
it's probably
that.
going to be held up she probably doesn't get it for another few months after the show is over.
Well, of course.
But either way,
Yeah, everyone knows that. But the thing with Courtney, though, is that this is now her legacy forever. She will always be known as season 5 MasterChef winner, Courtney, whatever her last name is. And so that is her legacy. This is your one card. You don't get a second one. You don't get to go on another show. You don't get to go do something else. This is it. This is all you got. So I hope that she has the people, like you said, who are good, and won't take advantage of her. And she has the foresight to go after it and be as aggressive as possible, because this could make her life, or it could just be a part of her life.
I think she can live comfortably as a chef at a Michelin-starred restaurant.
From winning the show?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm going more like publicity. Let's sell some books. I want my own series.
No, I'm saying she should go that route.
Oh,
I'm saying she should, but I'm saying as opposed to an aerial dancer,
yeah,
she is now in a much better place. No matter what she ends up after MasterChef, I think it'll be a more professional career, and I think it'll be an actual career in which she can actually base a future and have a family upon.
Yeah.
As opposed to what she was doing before MasterChef.
Right.
So I think no matter what, she comes out on top. It's just whether she wants to take it to that place where it's going to be spotlight, publicity, doing that, wanting to get her own show on the Traveler Food Network, and which I definitely think she has the look for. I think she could definitely get a Food Network show.
She could easily have her own cooking show. I mean, barring whatever MasterChef legal nonsense going
whatever
on
Fox
back there.
owns.
But she could have a cooking show. It's really, what does she want to do?
I think
Elizabeth could too.
Elizabeth's probably going to get the same deal with a cookbook.
Yeah.
Probably by the same people who are giving Courtney a cookbook deal. They're both probably going to have a cookbook out within the next year.
But that's the difference. And what I was saying before is, like, Elizabeth, like, I don't know that that she could helm a cooking show the same way, because it would be simple. And not in a bad way. Her what she would cook would be delicious, but nothing like huge and big swings. Courtney, I expect to just be like throwing crazy stuff at us every week. Yeah. And that's why like I said, I'm interested.
But for every one of you, there's somebody else who's like, I just want a simple dish. I just want to learn how to cook these things. So yeah, they can go after the two sects of the market.
So Courtney, what have you made on the show today? Well, I really wanted to make something with human today, so I made Soylent Green.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be delicious, and I really think it's great.
Called Long Pig.
Long Pig.
Wow.
I used long pig ears. Gordon's like bleeding from a bandage on
or we give them like they both are on a show together where they each have like 15 minutes of it, and then they get to compare, and they just make faces at each other.
Oh my god, that would work.
That would be good. I like that.
They'd be like back to back in the promo, and be Elizabeth like
Elizabeth versus Courtney. When she said God, what was the Elizabeth comment about Courtney? She goes, well,
it looks like second place.
No, she's talking about her being an exotic dancer. It was like so rude.
Oh yeah,
it was really mean.
Something about working at a gentleman's club. Like she straight up.
It was just like completely inappropriate.
Oh, she says just because she works at a gentleman's club and I work as an office worker doesn't mean that
just
she
because
deserves
I have
it more
a
than
real
I do.
job and don't work at a nightclub. I was like, what?
I don't think she did a real job.
I think
she said just because I work in an office and she worked in a gentleman's club. I think Steven was it, but I get her point that she's kind of, because she's playing from like in terms of story, she is playing from behind, where like Courtney's story is way more interesting.
Courtney also has 250,000 other reasons that comment doesn't mean anything anymore. So good for you, Courtney. I'm glad you won, girl. Get it. Good for you.
I'm down with Courtney being the winner. I still thought Leslie was going to win.
Okay, we have to also talk about that. In no universe, I love Leslie. In no universe is Jamie the best cook, and is Leslie ever going to win MasterChef? That's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. He was at the bottom half of the season. So why would he now win the whole thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Because it's a game. It's a game that he played.
I do.
True, he's very good at playing it. Yeah.
I do have to mention Leslie, because we haven't said it all season, and our YouTube commenters have been so we've been driving our YouTube commenters freaking insane because we have not mentioned that who Leslie is married to. Because
big deal.
I've been ignoring it all season because I didn't want people to be listening and be like, oh, that's who he is. I don't like him now because he's rich. Blah blah. blah. I wanted to ignore that fact, honestly, because I wanted to watch MasterChef without having that on everyone's minds. So Leslie is married to Melissa Joan Hart's mother, who is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Clarissa explains it all.
That's Melissa Joan Hart. Not
her mother.
Right.
So that's who Leslie's stepdaughter is, and her mom is Leslie's
is it
wife.
Stepdaughter or goddaughter?
Stepdaughter.
Stepdaughter. Stepdaughter.
So that's why there's so much hate when the people are hating on Leslie for being like the rich dude. Oh, blah blah. He's already famous. Like that's what they're hating on him for.
But what's wrong with being the rich dude?
I don't think anything.
Nothing. It has nothing to do with your cooking steaks.
I just didn't want to bring it up in a show before the end because it just didn't make sense to me to have that be like the thing to bring up every time.
It would have really influenced America if you would have.
It
It could have changed the whole scope of the season.
Look,
if you would have
guys,
said
these
something.
are two chefs that are changing the way the world eats after this.
And Steven apparently is changing the way we view Melissa Joan Hart and Leslie.
I can't believe Graham said that though.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a
like
lot.
these chefs are not going to change the way America eats.
Yeah.
Is that
overnight.
Graham? I thought it was Ramsey.
No, it was Graham.
It was
Either
Graham.
way,
Yeah.
it was.
He was like thinking. He was like,
Yeah,
they're
he
going to
does-
change the way.
he
I
does.
can't stand
I'm gonna
that
start
face.
smelling my food like him too before I eat it, because he really gets in there good and gets a good whiff of whatever.
All
he's
I
about
can
to
think
put in
of
his
when he
mouth.
does that is like, yep, smells like steak.
That's what you and I would think.
Yeah,
Be like, this is still steak. Yep.
It's like he's like making sure it's not poisoned. Like in another life, he was like the poison tester.
No, I think he actually does it so he
Couldn't get the
feels
full
the
aroma.
flavors, yeah.
I got. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because we're rambling at this point.
It was a
slightly.
great season. I loved hanging out with you guys. I love Gordon Ramsay, of course. He is the reason I even wanted to do the show in the first place. And, of course, I'll be watching next season. And for Gordon Ramsay fans, you should make sure to check your local listings for Hell's Kitchen, which is starting very, very soon.
Started already.
It has already started. And if you are a Gordon Ramsay fan and you haven't watched Hell's Kitchen, then you're not really a fan yet, because it is the best show. It's
And y'all
amazing.
should watch the after show Thursdays
You
with our
should,
host
after.
Lem Gonzalez,
Yeah.
getting the contestants every week on
Yeah,
that show.
it's really great.
It's gonna be awesome. It's been nice seeing you every other week, Kyle.
Yeah. When I can make it. Oh, and Tracy couldn't be here. A lot of people
Oh,
love Tracy. She got a flat tire, and there's a power
Not
outage
her
in
fault,
LA.
but-
Yeah.
Who actually believes that though?
She's just partying
I mean,
on the
it
beach.
could have
somewhere.
it could have been that her tire straight up just melted.
It's
the
true. It's
temperatures
very
in the
hot
valley
here
today.
today. It's pretty gross. Now we are rambling.
Where can we find you, Kyle?
You can find me in Los Angeles or on Twitter at Kyle_Kittleson, KITTLESON.
Zach
Hey
Wilson.
guys, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. That's Zach with a CH. And also here at AfterBuzz, I'm on Doctor Who Classics. I've got Resurrection coming back, Grimm coming back, Sleepy Hollow I'm jumping on with Stephen Lemieux over here, The Strain with Stephen Lemieux over here. I can't get away from him. And more coming up this fall. Another Fox show, Grace Point, with David Tennant, and I'm super looking forward to that one. So tune in.
All right, guys, and you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux. Also on doing the Strain After Show with Zach Wilson. 3 more episodes left, starting Sleepy Hollow, and then Sons of Anarchy on Tuesday nights. That show is really intense, and it's really bloody and violent this season. I'm just kind of like, whoa. Guys, this has been MasterChef Season 5, the
Good
After
night.
Show here on AfterBuzz TV, and Courtney won. Good night.
Let's look at some food.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.